Hello everyone, welcome back. So today I want to give you guys my first impression on the EOTech. Okay, so I got the holographic and magnifier combination. I have this on loan from a good friend of mine, and I got a chance to work with this. I have this on my Radical. This is the RPR rifle. Okay, so initially my very first impression when I put this on the gun is, damn, this is heavy. Okay, that was my first impression. Like immediately when I mounted it, I'm like, basically I weighed this on a scale. It came out to 1 pound, like 5 ounces. Okay, so it's just a couple of ounces short from using my primary arms 1-8, which is 1.5 pounds. So initially I'm thinking to myself, why would I want to use this when I can just go to like a variable 1-8 for almost the same weight? So I'm going to come back to that. Let me first tell you guys about the grouping that I got at 200 yards. So I took this out to 200 yards, and I was able to get a grouping of 2 3/4 inches using the magnifier. Okay, that's at 200 yards, and the ammunition was the Hornady Frontier ammo. And like I said, this is the Radical RPR, and and I'm using the EOTech XP3-0, and the magnifier is the G-33. Okay, so basically initially I got this grouping. I'm like, okay, great. I mean, I can hit that with my variable 1-8 pretty easily. Not a problem. In fact, I can even hit that with my, or get very close to it with just using the a red dot. I use the Holosun 503G that has the ACSS reticle with that little chevron, and that point really helps me focus on the target at that distance, and I'm able to get very good grouping. So at the point where I'm using the magnifier and I'm shooting distance, I'm like, yeah, great, it works, but again, is it worth that extra weight? So I'm handling the gun a little bit. I sent the picture to another friend of mine. I said, damn, told him, these, why they make these Gucci optics so heavy, And then he's like, well, why don't you take off the damn magnifier? I go, basically he's like, you only put the magnifier on it when you need to use the magnifier. And one of the great things about this system from EOTech, and the thing that I really like the best, and part of the reason why this is really growing on me, I'm really starting to like it, is that they have a really great quick attach method. It locks in 2 places. Basically, you push down here and you just pop this off, and this comes right off. And then when I get it back on, there, you just lock it back down, and then basically this flips to the side. So if you need to come up, you can switch it back and off. And then if you decide that you don't need it, you just remove it altogether, which is an awesome option, because although I like the variable 1-8, basically if you're using a 1-8, you are stuck with 1.5 pounds. Okay, now granted, this is a little heavier than like your standard Holosun red dots, right? But you do have the benefit of that larger window, which I'll talk about in a little bit. But just being able to take off the magnifier is a great option, and the flipping it back and forth, I was never such a big fan of that. It's like, if you flip it to the side, well, kind of now it's in your way. But having the option to just quickly remove it and put it like in a pouch or something, and then put it back when you need it, yeah, that's a big benefit. I mean, I really like it. And now all of a sudden, this rifle, just by removing that magnifier, it's become a lot more fast and agile. So this is not something I played with much in the past, and now with that quick detach, I'm starting to see a real benefit to having a magnifier behind your red dot, as opposed to a variable scope. Okay, so so at this point, this thing's really starting to grow on me, and then I went a step further. I wanted to do some drills, right? And I set up a situation over here where I'm trying to shoot around this thing, right? So this has the standard, this is like a Holosun 503G, and you know, basically I'm trying to get around this barricade here. You know, I'm shooting offhand here. I can't quite get a good, you know, cheek weld and a shoulder weld, so I'm kind of like off to the side trying to shoot. And I've got like 1, 2, 3 targets over there. It's really hard for me to get to that third target. Okay. But when I switch to the larger window, big difference. Okay. I see, you know, I mean, you're paying for that in a few extra ounces, but there's a pretty big advantage to having that larger window. Okay, so because of this larger window, okay, if I'm in an awkward situation like that, well, first of all, I'm using my offhand because I normally, most of the time, I'm right-handed. So just to make it that much more comfortable for me, I went to my left side, and I couldn't quite get that cheek weld and that shoulder weld, so I'm shooting the gun like in an awkward position. I'm actually canting the gun like this so I can kind of get up here into the corner, which gives me a little bit more angle, and I can get the gun a little further away. I mean, you can see how far away from my body is right now, and I can still see that red dot. Whereas with the standard, you know, the typical red dot, and this has a circle dot, like if I can't see it, you know, can't, you know, it's I mean, as far as, I mean, you can't quite get as far. So yeah, there's a definite advantage to this, to the bigger window. Now, what I also did is, you know, just trying to test out situations where this would be an advantage. I did an exercise where I went one-handed, right? Took my safety off, shooting this one-handed. Okay, flipping the safety on, taking it off. So I'm just creating a difficult situation for myself. So I did the same thing with this gun, just the same exact drill, just trying to do it one-handed, and just trying to get to that circle dot. Okay, it's just a little bit slower, a little bit more difficult. I mean, yeah, you can do it, but I definitely have an advantage with the larger window. So, the bottom line is that the EOTech, with its larger window design, I'm really starting to like it. It's something that is growing on me. It's something I didn't expect to like. I kind of went into it with a bias against it. Number one, because it's really expensive. I'm like, yeah, for all that extra money that I would be paying, am I really getting an advantage out of this? You know, besides the fact that it has, you know, the status, you know, am I getting any advantage besides just status? And now, as far as shooting at a distance, it didn't necessarily give me a bigger advantage. This system really isn't designed to give you, like, to be the most accurate in terms of, or not to be the most accurate. It really isn't designed to make you or give you the biggest possible advantage at a distance. I mean, even with the magnifier, it's a 3 power, so obviously if you're using a 1:8, you're gonna have a bigger advantage. So if you're gonna be, if you know you're gonna be shooting at distance, yeah, you want a little bit more magnification. But if you don't expect to be shooting at distance all the time, you know, this combo with the magnifier and the optic, I'm definitely seeing advantage to it, and I'm especially seeing an advantage to the larger window. And when you remove that the magnifier in the back, the rifle all of a sudden is not as heavy as I thought it was. So those are my initial impressions. I'm gonna play around with this a little bit more. If I get any other feeling, any other thoughts. One of the things that came kind of like, as I was playing around with this and trying to zero it in, the adjustments here are like really big. Like even the notches. I mean, this really is designed for use in the field, in the sense that rather than looking for a dime, you can definitely use something like the back of your casing. So these are definitely bigger adjustment holes over here. So it's definitely meant for use in the field under more hard, rigorous conditions. As opposed to like with these other optics, like with the house on here. Basically you got to unscrew the caps, turn it over. Use the back side of this as a screwdriver. Well, here's the thing: if you got like gloves and stuff, that can be a really difficult thing to do. Whereas with that one, because everything is just bigger, you can just pull out a bullet casing, use the back of the casing to adjust that. So that's one of the things that kind of became obvious to me as I was working with that with this optic. The thing that I kind of found that threw me off a little bit is on the magnifier. They give you these, because basically with this you have to first zero in your optic, and then you gotta zero the magnifier to the optic. So you gotta zero this twice, because once you put the magnifier on, it might shift your point of aim. So you gotta you gotta zero this in. However, with these knobs over here, I mean, they don't have clicks. Okay, so when I was trying to zero this in, there's no clicks that you can feel or hear. It just like slowly turns. So I don't know if I'm turning it at a consistent rate, or if I'm, it's not like I'm going 2 clicks left, 3 clicks right. So that's my only complaint to this. I think that they should have used the typical click system that you use on other optics, where you turn it and you can feel the click and you can hear the click. That's not here. And also these are pretty big, which is great because you can work this with the gloves. But this can be also very easy to hit and and basically throw off your zero. So now there might be some other reason why they did this. I don't know, but that's just something that stood out to me. That when I was trying to zero this in, didn't have the audible and the clicks that you could hear and feel, so that you're going 2 this way, 2 that way. So anyway, those are my initial impressions on this. I've only been playing with this for a couple of days, but yeah, it's really growing on me. Initially, I didn't like love it right off the bat, but it's really starting to grow on me. I'm seeing the advantages of that larger window in unconventional positions where you're trying to like shoot around things, or when you're trying to, if you're in a handicapped type of situation where you're trying to use the gun one-handed, or maybe just because you're trying to hold something or somebody back with the other hand. But anyway, if you guys got any comments, feedback, go in the comment section. I'll see you guys next time.